To abuse an innocent, helpless child is despicable and a grievous crime against God and humanity. In order to check this anomaly, the 1989 United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health and cultural rights of children, was adopted and domesticated in Nigeria in the year 2003 as the Child Rights Act. You are watching NAPTIP on the Move, and I am Emmanuel Okeke. Thank you for joining us. On this episode, we will focus on issues pertaining to child abuse in Nigeria and the role of NAPTIP in curbing this very ugly occurrence. Stay with NAPTIP on the Move.
The Child Rights Act of 2003 provides for the welfare, best interest and protection of every Nigerian child. It also stipulates elements that constitute child abuse.
You can abuse a child physically, mentally. You call the child all sorts of names and make the child feel not capable of being able to achieve anything. And that child grows up to lose confidence in himself or herself. So that way you've abused that child mentally. And physically, you can abuse a child through torture, bad ill treatment, and things like that. So child abuse, it's something that can affect a child either through the mind or the physical appearance.
We are not saying that you cannot discipline your child, but there's a thin line between discipline and abuse. If you excessively beat a child to inflict injury on that child, then it becomes abuse. We have sexual abuse of children.
Under the Child Rights Act, a child is entitled to certain good things of life, certain benefits and certain rights, so to say, including having a good name. When a child is born, you give the child a name. And a child is entitled to play at playtime. A child is entitled to be enrolled in school. A child is entitled to freedom of movement. A child is entitled to happiness. When a child is not allowed to grow its normal growth, both physically and spiritually, mentally, you have subjected that child to child abuse.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons is charged with the responsibility of protecting abused children.
NAPTIP also administers the Violence Against Persons Prosecution Act, and so it's domiciled with NAPTIP. So we are not only concerned with issues of human or child trafficking, but we also concerned with issues of violence against persons, and child abuse is of course one of those acts of violence against persons.
We investigate cases of violence or any form of abuses against them. We investigate it, and once it is found that yes, this child was abused, we come after the person, and the evidence of that particular child is sacrosanct to us. Gone are the days they will say, oh, that child is a child. If that child statement is not corroborated, then you cannot use it. But the judges are becoming very conscious of the fact that yes, children, can speak the truth, So when they say it happened to them, and they are able to give the story graphically, I believe that evidence should say true.
Instances of physical abuse of children has become rampant.
We have like a case of a father using, these fence wires that has all those sharp ends to beat the child. And you ask yourself, what did this child do? The child misplaced a key, house key, which was later found. But you inflicted injury on the child that the child almost died. So it's painful to see children, innocent children, going through this kind of pain.
We've had cases where a child's hands were dipped in hot water, and then another case where a child, hot iron was put on the child's body. In fact, there are so many gory cases I don't even want to talk about. It makes me very upset. So we've been able to rescue such children, take them to the shelter, rehabilitate them, and prosecute the offenders.
To employers of domestic servants, there is a stipulated age limit given the prevalence of the use of underage children.
What we have in our current law is 12 years, and above, but it depends on the circumstances. For us, we are advocating that a child should not be able to walk until that child is above 17, meaning 18 and above. That is when we believe that child has good bargaining power to be able to bargain for his or her wages.
When we say if a child is 12 years old, that you can take that child as a domestic servant, we are not saying that this child will work in your house from 2 a.m. till 11 p.m. We are saying that you give that child work or what to do that is commensurate to that child's age. And that child must be well taken care of. The money is paid to the child. We know there are some children who are so interested in going back to school or being educated, they want to do some jobs for like a year, save their money and go back to school when they know that their parents cannot take them back to school or give them the education they need. So in such a situation, the child is allowed to work. But when that child works, the money should be paid to the child and not to anybody else. Because if you pay somebody else, then it's an abuse on the child and it can be termed as human trafficking.
Hawking is another form of child abuse.
Taking things out to go and hawk is abuse on the child. Look at the risk that follows that. It's very enormous. You have kidnapping, you have the risk of the child being hit by a car. So the risk, exposing that child to all these risks is not good for the child, it's not for the interest of that child. So we are saying, if you are a parent and you are trading, please let your child help you sitting in your shop, of course after school hours. But do not allow your child to hawk things around.
There is also a worrisome trend of rape and defilement of children.
In the years past, people will look at it as, it's an abuse done by other people. But unfortunately, in modern days, parents, fathers, mothers sexually abuse their children, which is bad. We have other cases where a neighbor, you have a girl, a small girl, going to school, coming back from school, and what you want to do is to defile this child. We parents, we need to ask ourselves questions, and we need to know that these children are given to us by God for us to take care of, not to hurt.
Shelter services provided by the agency is a major strategy in handling cases of child abuse.
The shelter we have is called Halfway Home. It is shelters meant to protect these victims, so that we can have access to them. We have a department called Counseling and Rehabilitation Department, where we have counselors, psychologists, who take care of the emotional stability, physiological stability of these victims, to have them stable, mentally, and be able to tell us the story of what happened to them. So I will tell you that our shelter is one of our strongest points in combating crime. Because once a crime takes place, we are able to rescue the victim from the scene of crime, separate them from their violators. By so doing, issue of threats will not arise any longer, because they threaten some of these victims not to talk. So, but once that victim is in our shelter, then we have separated them from their violator. So they will now be stable and they feel happy.
What we do is provide comfortable accommodation for them, health services, because some of them that come in with physical abuse, when you see them, you will shed tears. So what we do is provide medicals. We have retainership with some hospitals where we take them to if our medical personnel are not able to handle such cases. Then in the shelters, we also put them through informal education, because sometimes they are not in school. And those who are in school that are abused, when we receive them, we ensure that we engage them to make sure that they are not idle. We provide counseling services also to them. We provide vocational skills where they learn how to make beads, fashion designing, hairdressing. We also provide feeding to make sure that they are well fed, and they undergo some curriculum activities where they can play ball, religious activities also. So we try as much as possible to engage them, and we have qualified staff who provide such services to them.
Data on sheltered victims reveal an alarming rate of child abuse in the society.
Presently at the shelter, the Abuja shelter, we have like 74 victims there. 4 of them are babies. Cases of rape that now give out babies there. Out of the 70, I can tell you that about 60 of them are abuse cases, different types of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. And it's very unfortunate because the population is increasing. We are getting more cases of abuse each day.
Sheltering services is not without its challenges.
The challenges we have hinges on providing rehabilitation services. So when we rescue them and we provide rehabilitation services in terms of accommodation, counseling, when we need to reintegrate them back into the society, we need to provide them with services that will help them function in that society. If it means taking them back to school, to make sure we provide their school fees and all the educational materials they need, ensure that they are comfortable. If they want to learn any skill, to be able to train them in their communities, and also to provide empowerment materials to make sure that they function in the communities that they are from.
The agency has recorded some successes in the prosecution of child abuse cases.
We've gotten 27 convictions in this area so far, and we're hoping to have more conviction in this area, because the more people we're able to put behind bars, the happier for us, and more so it will serve as deterrent to others. Because one thing with combating crime in every society is to ensure that others don't follow the footsteps of these bad people. So it will serve as a signal that the law is working, the federal government of Nigeria is not relaxing on its oars in combating crime, and NAPTIP, being is a government agency, is all force doing everything it needs to do to combat all these crimes.
To curb child abuse, providing an enabling environment, education and sports is key.
We are appealing to local government authorities, we are appealing to state government authorities to establish more social centers, where children who cannot be properly taken care of by those who brought them to this world can be taken to. The federal government is doing whatever it should do, but state government, local government should do everything they need to do. All child of children should be in school. If the family is not able to support that, government should do that. So we are happy that there are some reforms taking place in most states, and the federal government is also aiding and assisting them. And for the children too that cannot go far with their education, honestly speaking, there are other avenues. Sports are there. Several sporting activities are available where children can harness their talents, and they will still be a better person, And the entertainment area is also there. So we should encourage ourselves to ensure that our children, get some kind of knowledge. Once you have that knowledge, you go places.
Parents are advised to live up to their responsibilities.
It's important for us to know that an abused child today, if not provided with services, is a time bomb tomorrow, waiting to blow up. So we have to know that. Know where your child is at any given time. Know what your child is doing. So parents must do their duties. We must meet up our responsibilities. We must take charge.
I just want to advise parents to bring up their children properly and not to give out their young children to anyone at all. Even relations, friends, or so-called well-wishers who think they want to assist. And that age between 5 years to 18 years is the most important time of their lives. And if you get it wrong, you can either you ruin the child for life, So it's very important that parents just try hard to take care of their children, keep them under their wings until they are mature enough to go out of the homes.
The agency also encourages the general public to report cases of child abuse.
If you see any child that is being abused, either mentally or physically, please report to NAPTIP, and NAPTIP will definitely come to the rescue of the child and prosecute the offender.
There is no excuse for child abuse. Stop the silence and join hands with NAPTIP to kick child abuse out of Nigeria.
Human trafficking is one of the worst crimes on earth. It is a grave violation of your human rights. The victims of human trafficking are majorly women, youths, children and men who may never live to tell the story. These victims could be your wife, daughter, mother, sister, brother, child or relative. No one deserves to be trafficked. NAPTIP has intensified its effort against this heinous crime, but we need your support. We need you to join this fight. Government officials, corporate organizations, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and the organized private sector have enlisted in this fight. What are you waiting for? Join NAPTIP to end this global moral epidemic now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these NAPTIP hotlines: 0703 00 203, 080 02 255 627847. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you.
A child may be dying in silence right under your nose, so be vigilant and report cases of child abuse to NAPTIP. Up next is NAPTIP Events. Don't go away. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dingyili Okadonli, was one of the special guests at an event organized by the African First Ladies Peace Mission to commemorate the Day of the African Child. The theme for this year is Leave No Child Behind for Africa's Development. The welcome address was delivered by the coordinator of the African First Ladies Peace Mission, Beatrice Bassi. Goodwill messages were delivered by some of the dignitaries present, including the Director General of NAPTIP.
I commend the initiative and vision of the African First Ladies Mission, the chairperson and the planning committee for organizing this year's Day of the African Child, which seeks to raise awareness on the need for improvement of the education provided to African children. The theme for this year's celebration could not have come at a better time in view of the various developmental issues confronting the Nigerian child today. Nigeria is said to have the largest number of out-of-school children in the world, while the ILO estimates that 50% of Nigerian children are engaged in exploitative child labor. All these are factors that predispose children to becoming victims of human trafficking. In this regard, The theme of 2018 Day of the African Child resonates with the mandate of NAPTIP, which seeks to fight the scourge of human trafficking, thereby eliminating to the barest minimum challenges which would conspire to leave any Nigerian child behind for Africa's development.
The wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammad Buhari, was represented by the wife of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Olubos Mustafa.
We need to take necessary action in achieving this year's theme of leaving no child behind. These steps include, amongst others, stop violence against children, eradicate child poverty, renew global efforts to end preventable child and maternal deaths, stop marginalization of the girl child, respect and support the rights of every child, stop all forms of abuse against children, tackle climate change for the sake of future generations, and prioritize education. The day further represents an opportunity to remember that we jointly have a duty to protect, respect, promote, and fulfill the psychological rights of our children.
Music and drama presentations were performed by the children to entertain guests. The event was attended by the Ambassador of Burundi to Nigeria, Emmanuel Mfayo-Korera, Senior Special Assistant to the wife of the President, Dr. Hajosani, Director General of Nigeria Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution, Osita. Awards were presented to some of the students for best poetry and essay writing. The Day of the African Child is an annual event celebrated every 16th of June. Members of the Executive Management Committee of the Society of Women Accountants, Abuja branch, led by Ijoma Ogbunedo, recently paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Oka Dunley.
The Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria is the female arm of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. So one of the activities for this chapter is to identify with women that we will be proud to be associated with, of which our DG here, Dame Julie Oka, is one of them. Because you've been able to open up and review the crimes against humanity in the name of human trafficking. We now know that apart from sex slavery, traffickers engage in organ harvesting and child molestation of all sorts. And today we are here to say we are proud of you. We are happy to be associated with you. We are ready to collaborate with you and support you to fight this devilish crime of human trafficking.
Welcoming the delegation, Dame Julie Oka Dunley commended the organization and urged on women empowering girls to curb human trafficking.
I always preach the gospel of one woman, one girl. If every one of us women can take one girl in our community, just one girl or one woman, and empower her, we'll be very happy at the end of the day.
She also spoke on viable areas of partnership.
We're very, very eager and ready to partner with you in the areas of awareness. Let us target the rural communities, not just the cities, because this is where they need to listen to this. Every office of ours has a shelter attached to it. So if you have items to donate like food, whatever it is, we do skill acquisition training. So if you want to train the people in the shelters, we're always ready to, accept things like that.
The meeting with the Society of Women Accountants was very successful as areas of partnership were marshaled out by both parties. Melissa and John Camiola, founders of Grace Garden of Hope, a safe house located in Jos, Plateau State, paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Oka Dunley. Speaking on the purpose of their visit, Melissa Camiola informed the Director General that the safe house runs various empowerment institutes and then invited her to the launch of a baking institute which will have a professional American baker teach modern baking methods to the rescued victims in the safe house. Commending the initiative, the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Oka Dunley, said that NAPTIP is always open to progressive partnerships such as theirs and promised to visit the safe house. Establishment of safe houses by non-governmental organizations assists the agency in the sheltering and rehabilitation of trafficked victims.
This is to inform the general public that Perebi Nicole Otubo, a notorious human trafficker, is wanted by NAPTIP. Anyone with useful information on her whereabouts should contact the agency on this toll-free number 0703 0000203 or 0800 225 5627 847. You can email info@naptip.gov.ng. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you. For more enquiries and support or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotlines on 0703 0000203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
It's time to say goodbye, but not without urging you to rise up to the occasion. Save a life today by reporting cases of human trafficking, domestic violence, and child abuse to NAPTIP. I am Emmanuel Okeke. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.